Welcome to the CG Pro Show. This is episode number 6, coming to you live from post-Thanksgiving Los Angeles. I am going to jump straight in, but if you enjoy the show, sign up to our newsletter and you'll hear more about our shows, podcasts, and everything that we've got coming up in the future. So I'm going to introduce my co-host, Mr. Andy Cochran. Here he is, live from Paso Robles.
Live from not Los Angeles.
Live from not LA. And our very special guest today is my good friend, Mr. Haz Dulull.
Dreamer.
Straight from London, representing the UK.
UK in the house. So Mr. Haz Dulull,
Absolutely.
you've probably seen him out there on the internet. He's a very prevalent and prolific artist. He makes all kinds of things, transmedia or whatever you want to call it. But he comes from games, has worked as a film director, back in games again, and is here to talk about.
And I worked in VFX as well. And I've worked in VFX.
Let's not forget
that.
VFX.
Yeah, recovering.
Probably other things.
Recovering. That's good.
Recovering from VFX.
This is
Cool.
this is actually an intervention. This is not a
Yeah,
this is
it's
not a
just therapy.
show. We're here
Yeah,
to we're here to confront you.
In some ways, that's true. So, welcome, Haz. Welcome to the show. Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
It is a pleasure to have you here. So we're gonna jump straight in, and the first little thing that we like to do to warm things up is to do our crazy corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
It's crazy. It's in the corner.
Should I be worried? I have no idea what this is going to be.
No, that's the point.
That's the point. I have not seen this either.
So Andy is also in charge, as you'll learn, of sound effects, because we don't have a sound effects team yet or a music team. So he'll be doing that. All right. I'm not going to share sound, I don't think, on this one, but here we go. So this is the new Russian robot. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble for this. New Russian robot launch.
Although.
Too long of a title at the beginning. Here it is. This is the launch,
he's drunk.
live on stage.
He's drunk. Oh shit, he's drunk. Way too much vodka there, mate. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's not. I've seen a lot
This
of
is
those.
my favorite
Life
part
in
though,
Russia.
after it.
That's and they can't even. Oh, they can't even. Oh god. Oh, they can't even.
Curtain fail.
What are they covering up? He's gone. Oh my god. Oh.
Oh, they're cooked.
That's like, do you remember the Japanese, I think it was Honda, the Honda robot that was like dancing and
Oh, yeah.
like just kind of just gave up, and they
Gave
like
up.
came and put like a privacy curtain in front of it. I want to commend them for not pretending that a human in a suit is a robot. Like that's you know, at least you know, at least it's a shitty robot, not a human pretending to be, you know,
and they kind of
humanoid.
respecting the robot in a way, right? Like, oh, you know, like by putting the curtain rather than just dragging it like a piece of machinery. Because no, let's cover it up. It's got rights. It's got lives.
I feel like they did the wrong part of Russia though. They did the like those meme videos of like life in Russia where it's just this like panning shot across like a guy wrestling a bear and like an old woman drinking. Just like the wrong part of Russian excellence.
Yeah.
And they actually just had a major accident at their Cosmodrome too. They just a tower collapsed. Russia has no access to space currently.
Whoa!
Wow.
That's not a good
So
time.
not having a good
Not having a good week.
Not a good week.
Well, sound effects for our next section. our interview with our special guest of the week.
He's special. We're gonna find out why. There's lyrics, Haz, this time. There weren't lyrics before. You're very special.
It's evolving in real time.
I just want to let everyone know I have no idea this was going to happen. Okay, I'm just as shocked as everyone here. Okay,
this is on
just to all the audience out there.
Welcome to the CG Pro Show.
So, Mr.
I told you this was going to be an intervention.
Mr. Haz Dulull, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So, tell us what you do. What's your name? What do you do?
Well, so I'm Haz Dulull. I run a transmedia production company called Beyond the Pixels, and what we do is we make video games, and then from the video games we use a transmedia approach to create the animated series or live action as television as well. My background comes from video games, visual effects, directed films, directed TV shows for Disney. And my love for video games as well. I decided to take all of that stuff, mesh it together to create Beyond the Pixels. And actually, Beyond the Pixels actually started this originally as a YouTube channel. So it's a YouTube channel I was doing for about a year, where I was just like talking about my favorite retro games and playing retro games because I'm just like a retro nerd. I love those games. Super Nintendo, the Genesis days, that's my jam, right? And I remember like talking about playing R-Type and why that inspires my everyday creativity, playing games like Shadowrun and so on. And that kind of grew, and I ended up I think it was around July this year, I hit like over 109,000 subscribers. And I'm like, oh, people do care about what I'm saying. And I was doing a lot of tutorials here and there. And the reason I do these tutorials, by the way, guys, it's not because I'm trying to like teach and create a course of it. No. I know you guys do that. So like CG Pro do that so well. For me, it was like people kept asking me how to do things. I'm like, I'm just gonna create a video, put it up there, and I can just send them the link. And that became very popular. Like, how do you do things in Fortnite? How to do things in Unreal? Now how to do things in GDev. So, and then from that point, I had a previous company called Hazmation before, and that was very traditional in terms of how we make animated shows and so on. And I wanted to do something that was more fitting with where things are going today, which is if you look at the metrics of today, people, not just kids, but people are spending more time on their phones. They're hardly going theatrical. They are spending more time in Roblox and Fortnite. The audience has a big say in how they want their content made these days. They're telling us what they want to see, right? And I'm like, well, we got to change the way we make content and how we distribute content. And I've got to do this in a new venture. And that's what Beyond the Pixels is. So I was like, well, what do I do? I've got to do a project, right? So I thought I want to do my first project. And I had just come off spending 3.5 years working on a AAA game called Dune Awakening. I was a cinematics director on that. And that was massive. That was the biggest thing I ever. I mean, I directed shows of Disney, and I thought that was big. Working on a AAA game is a whole different thing, right? Like 16-minute long end credit sequences, like freaking hell. And I'm like, I'm gonna make something small. And I knew when I set up Beyond the Pixels around March, the games industry was not in a very good place. There's loads of layoffs and studios closing down. I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy that set up a games company during that crazy time. So I needed to do something that felt like I'm trying to find a solution or part of it. And I went back to looked at what issues of the games were. Games industry at the moment, games are costing too much. They're so expensive to make, right? Studios are shutting down because they're trying to cut their risks and mitigate their risks. Publishers are not signing on games anymore because they're just too risky. So I went back to a time where I loved making games in my room. Like I was in the demo scene of making games on floppy disk and creating mods on Quake and Doom and sending them out. When CD-ROMs came, I was making stuff in Macromedia Director and Flash and putting them online. And it's just a bunch of people in their rooms making stuff, and then you can commercialize that. And also going to the arcades, going to the London Trocadero or going to any arcades and putting 20 pence or a quarter or whatever and then just playing Street Fighter 2 and just having this social I'm like, why are games not like that anymore? I want to make those games. And also I want to hold on to a physical cartridge and blow in it to make sure it works. I want that back. And I decided I'm going to make a retro style game. And that's where Astro Burn was born. I love cats. I'm a cat person. I love shoot 'em ups. So I thought, let's put them both together. And as how Astro Burn was born, I did a quick test using an engine called GDev. And very quickly that got a lot of momentum online. People go, oh, well, this is cool. And now we're teamed up with another company, a strategic partnership with a company called Elo, who do esports. So I realized, gaming can't just be digital transactions on the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Game Pass, or Steam. it have to be out of the game experience. I want to bring tournaments back in. I want people to have events. I want people to have fun playing it. I want people to hold the games that I own this. Even if I cancel my subscription, I still own it. And that's what Beyond the Pixels is. And we announced in Hollowed Reporter and Deadline about 2.5 months ago that Astro Burn's also been made into an animated series, all in pixel art as well. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Is that all? That's incredible.
Yeah.
There's so much there. And several more podcasts need to happen, clearly. What's something about you that is not on your LinkedIn that you think is cool?
Oh my God. I mean, I think the main thing that's not my LinkedIn, but a lot of people know about me is I freaking love cats. I'm like obsessed. Like the reason I'm making a game called Astro Burn featuring a sassy space cat is obvious because my cat Mia is such a sassy feline. So yeah, I do love cats. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I don't really like. I mean, it's a bit obvious that I like cats, but I don't really put it as my LinkedIn header. I'm a cat lady or a cat person or a cat man. Or... Cat man? Does that exist? Cat man? I hear cat lady. I don't hear cat man.
Yeah, you just
there's
update
a TV
your
show. So tell us, what do you see is the studio of the future, the studio of tomorrow?
Well, if you look at what's been happening lately in the industry, like big companies like Activision, Epic, and all these wonderful big studios are shedding staff, right? A lot of these are senior people, right? And instead of them, you notice that instead of them going to go for another job and like risk going through that whole process again, because it is very emotional, right? To leave a job, be laid off, especially when you spent so much of your time and you made sacrifices on a project that isn't really yours. It belongs to the studio. You just get paid a salary. It's emotional, right? So people, some people don't want to go through that, right? So they end up setting up their own mini companies. If you look at Fortnite has opened the opportunities massively for a lot of studios out there to actually set up 2, 3-person, 5-person studios, work with brands and do what they're really good at, which is game design. Not have to worry about infrastructure anymore. Not need to worry so much about, having an online server to create multiplayer games, to create an engine, to create, it's all set up in Fortnite for you. You literally just have to work within the restrictions of Fortnite, which is the 400 meg and the restrictions that you get with, certain content you can make. But it's essentially make good playable games using your experience. So the future or the current situation of indie studios are 3 to 5 people studios now being set up, people working remotely and using existing systems such as Fortnite and Roblox as well to band together and make games, but also not spend 3 years making something. Get something out within a few months, 3 months, put it out there, see the metrics, reiterate, put it back up there, build a community. A lot of the studios now, a lot of the smaller studios spend a lot of time building community, whereas in bigger studios, you can't really do that. You need to have a community manager, you need to have this, and there's a lot of bureaucracy you have to go through. So I think the studio of the future or the current future studio is that autonomy. Artists with experience now have autonomy. They don't want to ask permission to make stuff. They don't want to wait for gatekeepers to say, yes, you can now pass and make your content. They're like, no, we're going to make content because we have a platform now. Back in the day, it was more to do with, it was like make really cool content with it, games, music, videos, or whatever. And then you have to pitch it to the publisher. The publisher will give you some money and you go put it on the platform, whatever. Whereas you don't need to do that today. You can just put your stuff on Fortnite, put your stuff on Roblox, and voila. And like what I've done is I put my stuff on Steam. People can play the demo of my game on Steam. I get feedback. I'm using something called First Look, which is a platform for playtesting. I can have 200 people playtest my game. Also, I'm building community and I'm doing this all at fingertips on my phone. I don't need a big team to do this. And that is very exciting because now I could choose who I want to work with based on me being a fan. Like, for example, like one of the guys that did some of the pixel art on this, a guy based in Brazil, Dan Mafra. I remember looking at his Behance portfolio years ago and go, oh my God, this guy's work is so cool.
Behance.
Yeah, Behance, right? And now I just go straight to him and go, hey, I'd love to work with you. I love your work. And when he sends me stuff, I'm not like saying, oh, can you change this? I'm like, no, I'm a fan of your work. It's going in. So even the revision cycle, there isn't like, I'm going to have 10 feedback rounds and I'm going to change this and change. I'm like, no, if it's freaking cool, it's cool. I'm hiring you as an artist. I'm not hiring you as an operator. I'm hiring you because you bring stuff to the table that I want as part of this vision. And that is the future. You know, there's going to be less of this bureaucracy and more about getting shit done, right? And having control of where your content is. Like, you know, I've been in positions where, say, like the last animated film I did, Max Beyond, right? Loved it. All made in Unreal. But it was locked to a specific distribution method. And if I want to go and take that and say, put it on YouTube and use ad revenue, I can't do that. It's kind of locked with the sales company. Whereas today, you have a lot of control as producer. Like, hey, I want to put it on Vimeo. No, I want to take it down. I want to put it on YouTube. Actually, no, I want to create my own platform. Hell, I'm going to break the movie up into several sections and put it as verticals and then make money on ad revenue. I'll do a sponsorship deal. You are in control. You can have that conversation. And I think that is exciting as the future of studios.
How do you stand out given that everyone can do
that is the challenge on any medium, more so video games, because it is a very saturated market. As exciting as it is to go and make games now and be democratizable, the tools you have, whether it's Unreal, GDev, Fortnite, so on. Like, look, for example, we did something called the Steam Next Fest, which is a Steam festival where you get allocated one time only to be part of this festival and you get full discovery, right? And we got accepted, and trying to find my game in the sea of other games was hard. And when I did find it, I screenshotted the hell out of it to prove that, hey, I was on this thing. But that just shows that you have no choice but to stand out. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to games events and setting up tournaments. The next thing we're gonna do, the next event we're gonna get someone to dress up in it's not gonna be me, sort of like a cat outfit and go around and start doing little things. I'm tapping more into different ways of getting sponsorships. I'm talking to sort of like the RSPCA and cat food manufacturers, you know, get them involved. I'm doing more with community. I'm doing all the stuff that isn't necessarily on Steam, that isn't necessarily traditional game marketing or game approach. I'm having to rethink that because you have to stand out.
You've been really good at doing that with your other projects as well, and film and other things that you've done, and guerrilla marketing and all sorts of interesting. And part of what you're doing with the tutorials and Beyond the Pixels and all of that is woven in together, right? It's like it's all the same part of the same thing.
100%. There is something about creating a video on YouTube and then making a video that has value to someone watching it. And that was the thing. Like, I remember the first bunch of videos I did was like, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and please play my game. And it's like, it sucked. Like, you watch it back, you're like, oh my God, that sucked. Now I'm like, hey, I found this problem. It took me ages to figure it out, but I'm going to make a video showing how I solved this problem. And maybe if anyone out there that's got that problem, there's a video about it. And I found having that approach, there's so much more value. People come in and go, oh my God, thank you. I had no idea how to do this. And now that's helped me. And yeah, if anything, there's like one person that's really inspired me to do this. And you know this person as well, Ed. His name is Winbush, Jonathan Winbush.
Yeah.
Like, over the years, I've become really good friends with him. And what's really cool is the fact that what he does is he's just himself, right? And he just shares the knowledge, man. He's not selling anything. He's not pitching anything. He goes, hey, man, look, I'm doing this video. What up? He's gonna hate me for doing this, by the way. And then he's just sharing knowledge, and he finds a problem, he shares it, and he does it in such a really good, consistent way. And that was inspiring for me when I was getting to the YouTube space. I'm like, I remember asking him for help. Hey, like, what are the tips? And he go, look, just be authentic, be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to be like that other YouTuber because it worked. Don't be so bogged down with the metrics. Like, no one can control the algorithm, right? The algorithm is the algorithm. You have no control. And dude, I think it's got its own life in a way, the algorithm, seriously. So just pay attention, see what's getting a lot of traction and engagement. It's not really about how long your videos are. It's really more about the engagement. If you got a video with, say, I don't know, if you got a YouTube channel with like, I don't know, 100 subscribers, right? Which may not be a lot, but each of those videos are getting thousands of views and there's way much more engagement. People are talking about it. That's more value than just having a video with like tons of views and loads of subscribers. And that's the thing you got to get your head around. Once you get your head around that, you're cool. You're fine. You just focus on making good content.
that's what we're hearing more and more these days, is that people without huge subscriber lists are having the content seen because the algorithm's learning more about what it is that people are interested in and what your thing is that you made, and trying to pull those things together and not bias it as much based on subscription count. Interesting. Yeah. Andy's saying here, his internet connection maybe not so great in Paso Robles there, but he's saying that the internet gave access to the amateurs, and now is being used by professionals, micro studios being kind of growing more in concept these days.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good point. I mean, here's the thing: like when YouTube first came out, everyone's like, "Yeah, that's not going to take off, right?" Like, and then people just, and like people like Mr. Beast, everyone's like trying to be the next Mr. Beast. But if you look at the history of Mr. Beast, he started from day one. He was like one of the day one YouTubers. He started small and it wasn't big, and he was just wanted a platform to share stuff, to do stuff, and to connect with people. It wasn't like, I'm going to make a big business. Whereas today, people are like, oh, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I want to be the next Mr. Beast or the next whoever, and I want to make loads of money. And it's now becoming like a professional platform, like you said, Andy. And it's very interesting because like, it's like with Fortnite. I remember when Fortnite, the UFN first came out, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to look at UFN. What the hell? And now everyone wants to tap into it. So, and I'm quite lucky that I didn't tap into YouTube at the start. So, I was really late in the game. But one thing I did on UFN was tap in right. In fact, me and you, Ed, were both at GDC when they announced it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I remember looking and go, oh my God. And I remember like going home and making my first UFN map. And I was getting a lot of coverage from Epic. I got Epic picks, getting a lot of discovery. If I make a Fortnite map today, I would not get that amount of traction because it's now flooded with so many high-end professional game developers making stuff. So that's why I say try to get in at the start. People that's looking to AI at the moment, even no matter what the controversy around AI is, the smart people that are looking into it know that once we do figure out and iron out the kinks in the gray area, you're already ahead of it, right? So I think that's one thing. You got to always be ahead of it, man.
Well, and speaking of that, go ahead, Andy. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I've always had a saying, be first or best. And the internet is all about first. It's like be the first to use the new tool, demo the thing. It's a bit of a treadmill. It's a lot of a treadmill. And if you're not first, then you need to kind of look at, like Apple is a great example of, they're never first, ever. But they are often best. And it's because they take their time and refine it. And I think that's becoming everything now. It's like, it used to just be like first was for the internet kids and best was for the professionals, but now you have a ton of professionals using these platforms and these self-distribution and these free, if not very cheap tools to create at a high professional level. Maybe not professional volume. I don't think you're going to see a two-man team do a AAA video game anytime soon.
No, they shouldn't.
No,
which is a great segue into our news of the week.
This is a segue. It's a segue. We're moving into the news of the week.
We're hiring for sound people. If anyone's out there, we're hiring for sound people. Okay, quick screen share. Quick, come on, help me. Okay, so Gemini 3 was one of the big ones this week. And is that working? Is my screen share working?
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I see it on there. Yeah.
All right. So this
Ed, this is like several days old. We're all talking about Z now.
I know. Well, let's talk about the past for a bit because it's important to give context.
We have to know where we came from to understand where we are today.
Exactly.
This is where we came from. This is the long distant ancient past of 2 days ago.
So what this is and I thought of you instantly when you're talking about cats just now. So I made a little Thanksgiving card, I guess, in Nano Banana Pro. So this is just me telling it what I want to be in this picture. And it was pretty close, I'd say. The turkey rocket was like, I was hoping for a little bit more creativity there, but it did pretty much exactly what I said. And then I gave it notes, and that's what's starting to become really possible with some of these tools. But what we're looking at right now is their Build Me Anything tool inside AI Studio And this literally all I did for this was to put a picture into this interface, and then it built a little app. It built this little game, and I haven't played this version of it because I just uploaded this. But this game, I guess the idea is that you feed the cats, and you keep feeding them, and you click
You're
on
gonna
these
get
little
that
bits of
cat
food.
drunk. Is that wine? That's wine,
Yeah,
isn't it?
there's
You're
wine
gonna
for the
get that
there's
cat
wine for
drunk.
the cat. That cat on the left is having a good time. So then, when they've got enough fuel, then you can launch the turkey. And
No
here it
way.
goes.
How long did that take to make?
Just lift off means just vaporize, I guess. It took me literally dragging a picture into this interface,
No.
and then it built that. And
That's insane.
That's a
Yeah.
SpaceX. That's a SpaceX turkey. It just blows up on the pad. Also news. Topical, not an insult. Actually happened.
so this was it. Basically, deciding from that, and I think the idea here is you draw a picture of a board game or something, and it would
Right.
start to make you a real quick.
And is that a web game, or is it downloadable as an executable, as an HTML file? Like, how can you make it your
It's
own?
vibes, man. It's vibes. It doesn't matter. It's vibes. What are you doing? It's vibes.
You can, yeah, is what he means. You can download it. I haven't downloaded it and tried to see what that means yet, but you can download it in some way.
That's so interesting, though. Does that mean we're going to get a lot? I mean, we've got a lot of these kind of brain rot type games, which do really well, by the way.
Yeah,
they're very popular and stuff. But now, like, I mean, to make something like it would usually take a week at least to get something going with the code and everything. And you're able just to knock this up in a few minutes and download it as an HTML5 file or an executable, deploy it. I mean, you're going to see a lot of stuff now online. It's going to be even harder to filter out stuff, which is very interesting.
But I think also having done this 2 or 3 times now with the same picture, and I just wanted to leave this one because I don't think there's a restart button here. That was my first note to it. It's like, how do I restart? I want to play it again. Anyway,
you get once.
You want to give it.
This is hardcore mode game.
Give one try. That's it. It's like a Mission Impossible game.
Yeah.
Destroy after reading. That you can vibe with it over here on the left too. Kind of give it notes, and it did that part I found a little confusing, but yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting way to explore an idea, at least.
Very. Wait, is this Google? Sorry,
okay,
Andy.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, is this Google Studio you're using? Google Studio AI, or yeah, that's so cool. So, Andy, you were saying?
I was saying my son, he's 8. He likes watching YouTubers playing stupid mobile games. That's just something he likes doing. And he used Gemini to vibe code rather than watching someone play a game or downloading the game to play the game. He used Gemini to make a version of the game himself. So instead of playing a game, he made a game for fun.
That's so cool.
Like that's a switch that we're going to start seeing, where people are going to, like, the act of creation has been held in these, sacred temples, and now the act of creation is a form of entertainment. And you see that in Midjourney and all these other tools that are coming out, where it's like, calling it doodling, and vibe coding is the same, where it's like he enjoyed the process of making a game to play, and it was just a clicker game. It was very, very simple, but that I think is a little bit of a paradigm shift that we're going to start seeing. It's not just micro studios using these tools; it's amateurs using these tools not to make output, but to enjoy process. And we haven't really wrapped our heads around that as a society yet. If everyone can doodle, it's at a reasonable level, does doodling become a form of entertainment? And I think it does.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why UGC is so popular, right? Roblox and Minecraft is that element of user generated content. It's what we were saying earlier about when I was saying about how the audience really dictate what they want to see. It's going to get to the point where they are fed up relying on studios trying to give them what they want. Like I see a future where we're going to go into the remix era. Like just like with music, right? People like hip hop were sampling really cool tunes from, like, Bono, U2, or or some of the like Queen, for example, and then sample it and making really cool hip hop tracks because they wanted to make their own music based on something they liked from that. And I feel like we're gonna get to that point where audiences, like young audiences, because look, I want to know what happens if that guy didn't die, or this person got that super. I want to. You know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out myself. Give me a version that, oh, that's super cool. Get their friends to come around. We're gonna watch that movie. Or I want to make a game where it features my friends and we're throwing darts at him or something, right? They're gonna do that. So they're gonna start making content for themselves. So the problem is gonna be like, well, hold up. How do the studios make money now? Because they used to feed the audience, and I think there's going to be subscription models for these tools in order to allow people to create more user-generated content. And I think that's going to be the business as studios. We're going to be creating content, but also, it's like those classic PC games, right? Where you buy a game and you get a level editor with it, and you can create your own version of the map. And that's how the modding community came about. Right, yeah. And the modding community came about from that, right? Some of the best game designers came from that. And I feel like we're going to get that content today. Yeah.
For sure.
I think that's a big thing too, is that the real promise of AI is hyper customization. And I don't just mean you customizing something manually yourself, putting yourself in a movie, but us to be able to create content that can be hyper personalized without you having to be an active participant or creator. Everything from much better NPCs in games to as you said, plots that really start to kind of cater to your tastes and desires. I think that's where I get excited about AI, is that ability to like create movies that are 1 billion hours long, or TV series that have 5,000 subplots, right? Like that volume is impossible.
Yeah.
But it is possible if we use these tools correctly.
I'm trying to interrupt Andy visually by showing another news item of the week, which this is Meta's segment anything model update, SAM 3. So what we're looking at is me clicking on this turkey in the background. This is dragging a little bit because I've got a lot of things open on my machine, but this extracted the turkey from the image that I made in the left there, which was generated itself. If you think about that, that's like a AI generated picture that then extracted a 3D generated turkey, which needs a little polish and throwing through substance or whatever, and maybe up-resing or whatever. But a decent base there for a maybe for a turkey.
I think this is crazy too, because segment anything is initially a roto model, right? Like it's analyzing 2D images and creating roto splines basically. But now they've taken the jump to, it still does that, it segments objects by generating a 3D version of them, and that's really fascinating, that move where it's not
the data in the middle,
2D to 2D anymore. Yeah, exactly. And you can do all these crazy things with it, but it's fascinating how it's not 2D to 2D, it's 2D to 3D to whatever, to 3D to 2D.
And as a step beyond, here it is segmenting the three of us from the podcast.
No.
So this is it actually.
Where's our hair, dude? Did not segment our hair.
No. Well, so what this is trying to do is get you like base models that are posed with skeletons.
Like in the poses.
So, So this is it's actually done a reasonably good job here. This is like the three of us posed together. There's an arm in there that maybe doesn't make sense, but otherwise, it's done a pretty decent job of putting us in the pose. And I have another little example here, which was a bit more extreme, with hands. And look at that. Look at the rock salute.
Oh my god!
It's picked up all the fingers as well. That's pretty wild to me.
That is wild.
That's super wild. And I saw that in their kind of press release about SAM 3, was that there are different models that they have. They have a humanoid model, and then they have I forget what they said. There's a couple other common models where they're looking for something known, like people, and then they're able to drill down into a different model that's like, okay, people, Great. Now we'll use the people detection model that gets us geometry, gets us skeletons, gets the poses correct. So it is kind of interesting where Sam has become this like stack of little AIs.
And it's on Hugging Face, and you can go grab it and use it in Comfy UI. But this is on their website, so you can go check this out. You grab the URL there.
And that is Sam. That is from Meta. Segment Anything Model 3.
Wow.
Sam 3.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, I've been trying out some 3D stuff recently, and I think I have an example of one of them in here. If I don't, I'll pull it up. Of Tripo 3D, which actually I think this one here. So this is a different model, and this is not it running live. This is just a video I recorded of it. But this was generated again from a picture into a 3D model.
Crazy.
Straight from a generated 3D image. 2D image. So it was nano banana, few rounds of notes, and then one single image, not multi-image. Single image.
So where do you think these? I mean, this is freaking fascinating. I just give you how long it would take to actually do it without this tool. Clearly, studio executives watching this podcast, as well as seeing these tools, are clearly thinking from a financial bottom line, like, hey, do we need our 50-person studio? Can we not just do? So what's that? I guess the question is, what does that mean for the future of employment? What should people be learning? What should people be going to uni, or should they just like embrace the world of prompting and be really good at it and have a trained eye? Like, what is that going to look like? Because I mean, clearly this is where it's going, right?
Well, my philosophy on that, my theories on that, and I've actually been working all week on a commercial that using AI for pitch viz. So it's not it coming out into final pixels, although we are seeing those things for sure. More for pitch viz, but the pitch viz was getting so sophisticated that some of the creatives involved were saying this is really good. You can see them going, how much diff is there between the pitch and the final? And but the process felt very similar in a lot of ways to what I've done in commercials for many years. There was creatives involved, as in creative directors, giving notes to people who are generating things. Yes, they were generating things in video form, but the way that we were trying to get what we could out of the videos, there was tons of stuff that was generated that didn't work. It was a mess that didn't listen or did weird random stuff. But with the Google models, between Nano Banana and VO and a bunch of other things, so the quality is getting very good. But I think really noticing that process and watching less and more experienced people doing it, the fundamentals still came through. So what you're making, needing to know what the people are asking for, needing to know when it's actually got there, needing to be able to inject control, I used all sorts of tools in the middle, Photoshop and various 3D things to kind of compose and align. And with this, I made a quick video clip of this Ammonite at some point. I might be able to show it, but this I was able to get the model, pose it, and then run it back through the model and do all my sort of layout and everything in 3D, that's really the way I want to work, being able to have that control. So I personally see the future as the prompt engineers who only had AI in the beginning and not the fundamental skills are now all the jobs that are asking for Gen AI people are all asking for. And also, can you please have a good eye and some traditional 3D or 2D skills?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's enough just to have the ability to. Basically, for me, what it comes down to ultimately is if it's easy, it's not valuable. So as in, if everyone can do it, it isn't valuable. Doesn't mean it's not cool, but it's just people won't pay more money for it because everybody can do it. So then what do? You try and do more than the average person can, and that's how you stand out. And I think there's an edge here where some people can make this stuff do more than other people can. And so I think that's what you should be focusing on, which for me comes back to a lot of the traditional skills in tandem.
So maybe education wise, there are going to be courses out there training people how to be prompt engineers. It's going to happen, right? But maybe it'll be one of those courses where you have different modules. The first module in that course, and they all have to be, you have to pass all these modules, right, in order to get your certificate or your degree. And the first one will be, fundamentals of good art, the fundamental of color science or color theory, the fundamentals of understanding shape and form, music, audio. So you have a good grounded understanding and getting people to actually draw stuff on paper so that when they actually do or use Maya to create something, whatever it is, so when they do get to the prompt engineering and they get to learn the prompting, they've already acquired those skills. Because the thing that you see a big disparity online where the tech bros that are creating stuff, like I saw something online, like this guy posted this thing saying, it's over for architects. And then he quickly posted another image. He goes, "Oh, I just looked at the image, and the toilet is the wrong way." I'm like, well, that's clearly the reason why it's not over for architects, because you still need good architects to understand how things work spatially. And he was clearly just a tech bro, and I understood where he was coming from. He wasn't malicious or anything. He was more like, "It's over. Oh my god, we could be architects." I'm like, no, you still need to know the fundamentals. But it's amazing that the AI tool is able to bring out all of these concepts and designs very quickly to allow you to explore. But you still need to have the understanding to make it work.
I think that the desire in there is what's interesting to track, because there's desire for people to have increased capability for me too. I've been a visual effects artist for 20 years, but I couldn't make most of the stuff that was in my head because I didn't either have time or resources to be able to do it. And I'm really excited in this moment to be able to unlock some of that for sure. And I think, but then I think in the corporate world or the executive department, there is definitely always a desire to make things cheaper and faster and better. But then it's like, okay, you're
that's
then
not art,
have
right? That's not art. That's commerce, right? And I think that's the thing.
Commercial art.
I mean, money makes the world go around, and we all need money, and food doesn't buy itself. But at the end of the day, I think that is going to be increasingly the dividing line, where audiences are pushing back on bad CGI. They're pushing back on AI to a degree. Artists are definitely pushing back hard on AI. Certain filmmakers are pushing hard back on VFX. I think it's more about commerce. It's everyone knows AI is free and easy or cheap. Everyone knows, sweatshops overseas are cheaper than ILM, and so there is this, I think, pushback not on quality, but on craftsmanship and on effort and talent, where it's like, if the new Marvel movie has 4,000 names in the credits, the audience is not going to really think as much of that film as if it was a 30-person crew that did everything. Look at Everything Everywhere All at Once versus, Avengers 27. Like it's about people with something to say using the tools to say something. And I think that's going to become a increasing chasm of like, what's the prompt that I can put into ChatGPT that will write an indie drama that will get me as much attention as that indie drama that human being wrote? And I think that's going to be the drift on all of this tech increasingly, and the micro studios too, right? Where it's like they're able to do that because of talent, not because of tools. The tools are just, an enabler and an efficiency.
I agree. And also, like, if you see, I don't know if you guys been tracking the video game news, but like Call of Duty, the new version came out like a week ago, and it's been slammed. It's got the lowest critic score, like 7% or something, and it's because it was a lot of the content in there was generated by generative AI. Now, the games industry, the people that pay $70 or $80 for a game are livid. They're like, we paid $80 for a game that's generative AI, and we know how generative AI works. Why would we pay $80? So now there's going to be a thing about, if you're making content using generative AI, how much should you charge for that? And how much is someone willing to pay for something they know is made with generative AI? Because we're at this very early phase. I reckon in 10 years' time, no one's going to give crap whether it's made in AI or not.
No.
They just want something really cool.
it's
But right
less
now,
years than that, I think.
less
yeah,
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
And-
also like you see, all these people are like, oh, this is really cool, and then somebody will be like, oh, I just read the hashtags. It's made with AI. I hate it now. And it's like, okay, let's get
that big
past
thing.
that, and get to like, do you like this or do you not like this?
Exactly.
Not how is this made?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, is it a good idea or not? And that we're always caring for the wrong reasons about how something was made. And there's a lot in the news at the moment with even Tim Sweeney weighing in on the commentary about was this made with AI, etc. It's going to be basically everything. The feeling there, I think, is that everything has got some bit of AI in it, and that also some misconceptions too that AI is either cheap or easy. It's most of the things that I've made with it are actually quite hard and really expensive. So, and I think that probably there's a perception that will shift that the public or some part of the public believes that it's an easy button and that it's free, and it's really not.
It's not.
So,
the server cost alone, and there's a lot of, you still have to have infrastructure in place, and people just think it's you just type, because here's the thing, people just look at Midjourney, oh, I just did this in Midjourney in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's an image. Oh, I just did a video. That's a 3-second video. Try 92 minutes of a feature film that has to be conformed to Netflix standards and theatrical and create DCPs. There's a whole different story there.
Yeah. Well, the commercial I was doing was a 30-second. There was a team of people working on it for a week, and just for the pitch viz. This is not like a finished feature for sure.
Well, look
Andy.
at the pushback on the Coke commercial now, where everyone's like, oh, Secret Level used AI last year and they use AI this year, and comparing the two against each other. And now people are like, oh, 70,000 prompts to get to here and a team of 100 people. And it's like, yeah, it's a commercial. AI
like
didn't just like
notes.
Yeah,
but
like
there's a lot of
70,000.
craft. I mean, I know Jason Sader from Secret Level personally, and I've spoken to him several times about the Coca-Cola, and he very openly says it's not just a bunch of people prompting stuff and giving it to Coca-Cola. There's a storyboard process involved. There are visual effects artists involved where they're rotoing stuff and replacing stuff. It's just AI is part of the visual effects tool set. That's the only difference. They still have a cinematographer that comes in to light stuff and to frame stuff. It's still a process, but people just get so caught up with the fact of the AI. Oh, it's easy, and it's not.
When I was doing a bunch of 360 video early on, like 2015, 2016, there were all these stereo guys, gray hair stereo guys that had been like really pushing stereo since the 70s. And one of them, we were showing our stuff at VRLA at a conference, and this guy comes up and we've got some cardboards and some Gear VRs and stuff, and he goes, what is shot in stereo? I can only look at stuff that's shot in stereo. And I was just like, well, I mean, that one's in stereo if you want, and like that one's stereo converted. And he like watches it, and he goes, which shots were in stereo? And I just looked at him and I was like, if you can't tell, it doesn't matter, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, why?
Segueing nicely into another thing that happened this week, which was Hunyuan. I think that was this week anyway. So hard to tell these days. Hunyuan Video 1.5, which is in Comfy Cloud as well. So this is Comfy UI running in the cloud. Where I know a lot of the excitement around Comfy is to be able to run local, which obviously a lot of people are doing. But if your computer's struggling, you can run it in the cloud. And at the moment in the beta, it's like $20 a month to get 8 hours a day of processing in here. So you can do a crazy amount, and $10 of that goes to like paying for API credits for other models too. So it's really like $10 a month.
Wow.
That is shifting in December to a more Weavy kind of model with pay as you go, usage based. But this one ran. This is basically Hunyuan Video 1.5 update running in the cloud, processed in about 12 minutes roughly. So for what this sort of represents to me anyway is free models as opposed to paid closed models, free open models, pushing up there in terms of quality.
So
and
cool.
also segueing in the Comfy updates, which again, Comfy Cloud, something I would recommend a lot of people go check out if they're having their Comfy workflows grinding and being slow on their own machine, which is certainly the case for most people. They've also announced just through this interface to me this morning, introducing Nodes 2.0, which is another thing that was interesting to me, because Comfy UI, the idea for me was to make it comfy, and it's very far from that in the most cases, but still more comfy than code. But there is a new nodes improvement coming, I think. From what I see on Reddit, people aren't keen so far, but that also looks a little bit like change, and maybe it's a little early. People don't like change, and it probably needs a little refining. But this is starting to evolve.
Do they want to make it usable finally?
It sounds and looks like it. They're also hiring for UX people, which I think for a long time they were really just hiring and focusing on engineers, and engineers making user interfaces. Being one of those people is usually a bad idea. You want UX people to make user experience. But this is starting to become easier to work in, for sure.
I should apply for that job, fix all of my personal gripes, and then quit.
Do it, Andy. However it gets done, I don't mind. Another one which I happen to have loaded up here in Comfy Cloud still is Flux 2. So this is on the image side. Flux update. So this is in the templates, I think. Anyway, it's either in the templates or you can download this workflow. I personally pulled it in and it was a mess like every other Comfy workflow up there, and I obsessively cleaned it up a little bit. But I'm on a mission to do that, and that's why I mentioned that. Anyway, this is basically taking an image. This is one of the example images that you get in there, and running it through to the end with a note to put the hat on and just change a little bit about the image. So this, again, sort of like Nano Banana type image edit.
Could you have stacked all of those nodes into one vertical stack so that all the noodles could loop back and forth?
That's what I inherited with it.
Could you have done it that way so that it could just be like a big stack, and then put like downstream things first so that you see them before?
I want to put every node on top of each other, just so it's like really efficient with space.
It should be like a laundry hamper where you pull the nodes and put them wherever you can to find the one node that you need to adjust. That's how professional workflow should be done.
Absolutely. But yeah, again, this is really bringing in Nano Banana type capabilities, but within a free open source model. And so far, and this ran in maybe 30 seconds.
Wow.
Say again, Andy.
That's 3 or 4, by the way, the Nano Bananas.
Yeah, Nano Banana.
No.
So a few interesting updates. I've got another one I can share in that's, I think, related at least in here. This one was interesting. So Quen, with their retexturing LoRa. So this one is free to download and run. And the idea here is that you give it a picture of this car, the picture of the texture, tell it the sort of triggering words. This is also using subgraphs in here just to kind of clean up. Again, yes, I am on a mission to clean Comfy graphs the world over. I'm going to do it within my tiny sphere where I can.
I do like the use of triggering words instead of prompts. Like, I like the idea that we trigger the AI. Like,
like PTSD kind of style.
Yeah. Real quick, just turn this car into rock. Triggered.
So this is what it did. There it is.
Wow.
Yeah, one kind of fun thing.
It expanded the background as well.
Yeah, it does. Well, same as actually, that's where I think Nano Banana. There it is again.
6.
That's where Nano Banana is really
7.
good, because it does not bother the rest of the image pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still see little tiny pixel shifts, but pretty good.
Subtle, yeah.
Yep. So there we have some of the shares of the week. There is
Nice.
a few other things.
Blender 5, Blender 5, Blender 5, Blender 5, Blender 5.
That was one of them. Go ahead.
Let's see if my internet holds together. Ed, I sent a link to you. It's probably safer if you open the link with my network chugging. But geometry nodes in Blender 5 are supporting not just Gaussian splats, but 4D Gaussian splats, video splats. There's a link for in the chat there, Ed. If you scroll up a little bit,
Got
it's
it.
the last link in there. This is huge.
Okay. Let me share
This
again.
is a big deal. Gaussian splats have like I think Curie engine or Kiro engine. Curie engine has allowed you to import splats, but now there's in the official 5 release, there's geometry node support for proper video splats, which it's a huge deal. They're working on relighting. If you scroll down, there's that cat is ray traced it's just 2 mirrored planes, so that is probably ray tracing them. I mean, splats have to be ray traced, but actually incorporating them properly. And if you keep scrolling down, I think it'll get to there's other links in the official Blender 5 documentation, but relighting they're working on. Obviously they're in geometry nodes, so you can do anything you want to manipulate them, etc.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
The future of splats.
You did a great talk on those a couple of times recently at some trade shows, and I think one of the questions I asked you while you were doing your talk was about generative splats, which we are now starting to see appear with
well, I think that's actually what's happening under the hood on a lot of these image to 3D models, especially Luma. Luma did one of the greatest user data acquisition campaigns in history, where they launched as a Nerf and Gaussian splat app, and now they're a generative image and 3D model. They're just using the splats we all gave them. we trained their models.
So this one right here we've got that came out this last week, maybe into beta, is Marble by World Labs.
Oh yes, Marble. Yeah, you can bring that into Unreal as well.
Yep. Yeah, you can. I mean, it's just a splat essentially, so you can put it anywhere that you can put splats. But this is, you can generate from a just trying to navigate here a little bit so you can see it. So generate from a single image and be able to have a background that's got some amount of parallax there. And I've played with it a little bit.
I mean,
I don't know if either of you guys have, but it's interesting.
I haven't played with it yet, but this is where it's all heading. Is 2D imagery is cool and all, but underlying 3D data is where it's at.
Well, yeah, I remember green screen. Yeah, but I remember doing green screen comps back in the Shake days when I was VFXing, and the biggest problem was parallaxing, right? And even when you have a 3D track camera, your plain image or your matte painting is locked on. Then we had Nuke, where you can do projections on geometry. That was cool. But this is a whole nother level, because you can really go as far. You can go quite far. I remember in Nuke, all we could do was just this to get some kind of parallax in the background, then add a focus it. But with this is a whole nother level, man. Wow.
You can see when you get further away from the sort of hot zone how it starts to break. But and definitely version 1 for sure. But I think shows I think, as Andy was saying, a lot of at least desire and promise, I think, in terms of where people want this stuff to be, being able to generating 3D worlds, which is what I've spent most of my professional adult life doing is hard, and a lot of the people out there really want the ability to make it photographic and make it a little easier. And I say still, it's none of it is easy yet, but this is showing signs, I think, of what people want, at least.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're going to start seeing this getting faster and faster and faster, closer and closer to real time, showing up in game engines, getting insane fidelity, either very quickly or possibly real time.
But also from an industry point of view as well, it's not just the film industry that's going to benefit from it. I mean, I'm thinking real estate, right? Like people want to sell property abroad to other people to buy property. They could just like really take a good look at stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the real estate industry pushed HDR arguably much harder than the entertainment industry has.
It's true.
Like, for us, HDR is a tool. And then real estate, it was not just a tool, it was a way to make houses look better for the walkthrough tours. And then we started rolling out HDR TVs, and now we've got Dolby Vision on our phones. And,
All right. Well, I think that we got through at least a few of the things for the news of the week and had a good chat about that. It's been a pretty intense week as far as things coming out. There's definitely more things that I wanted to cover. But moving towards the end of our show here, usually towards the end we have a gadget, and I'm running out of gadgets that are on my desk, but I'm going to do another one. So anyone who wants to sponsor the show out there and send us a cool thing, hint, hint. For today's gadget of the week, I'm going to share my tour box, which is this little thing. I'm a huge fan of this. I worried that it was another novelty purchase, but it's certainly not cheap, but it is very, very useful, and I use it just constantly. The configurations are like per app, so you can set it up to work exactly how you want, and it's got a load of really good defaults in Premiere and After Effects, and it's speeds up editing workflow really significantly, and is also really useful for bits of 3D and other things that I didn't expect. So the tour box, this one is the cheaper one of the bunch, I think at $150. I'm not getting anything for saying this, but I am a fan of it, so I wanted to share that. Definitely recommended.
Nice.
And that kind of brings us towards the end of our show today. So
this is a record. This is a record. We're clocking in at under an hour and a half for the first time.
Is it? It was that long? I didn't realize it.
Oh what? Yeah, no. We're terrible. We're terrible. We're terrible. Not with time management, but with there's so much happening in our industry right now. That every week there's just an absolute fire hose of new stuff to talk about.
It is.
This is, what we just talked about was pared down. That was 10% of the stuff that's happened this week.
But we still haven't covered the questions. So if we have a couple minutes, there are one or two questions from the audience that came in. What are your thoughts on provenance and how that might play a role in building out this new IP-based industry's evolution?
How do you mean from provenance?
I don't know. The person who I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's ChatGPT.
Well, I think it's often when people are talking about provenance, they're talking about sort of IP ownership, but they may also be talking about.
I see. Okay, that
provenance of data through the training, but listen, hip hop was built on plagiarism. And AI is going to be built on plagiarism, but it's not going to exist long term in the same way that hip hop stabilized and everyone started paying, and a couple people got dinged hard for ripping off samples. There's several very rich musicians that are even richer because they got sampled and are being paid thousands of dollars a day.
I mean, the famous one is it Puff Daddy, right? With the sample
Sting.
Sting, yeah.
Sting. It was Sting.
But Sting's getting paid. Sting's getting paid though.
Sting's getting paid.
Somebody put his, he put his
thousands of dollars, like $2,000 a day or some insane thing.
Exactly. So it's worked out. It's worked out.
And I think we're gonna have that. We're gonna have those who are trying to do better. Asteria is kind of they're really trying to do better, and there's those that are like really aggressively trying to do worse. And I think the reality is long term, the sort of copyright thief, the Robin Hood, the reverse Robin Hood, stealing from the artists to give to the big corporations.
Yeah.
It comes down to good ideas, and it always is. Suno's generating something like the entire library of I think it was SoundCloud or Spotify every 2 weeks. They're creating so many songs daily. It's millions per day.
Whoa.
But it's not like the music industry isn't going to completely collapse because of that. There will be cases of people having problems, losing jobs, getting some AI song does better than them, but it's not going to end humans making music. What it's going to do is it's going to make live music way more valuable, because it's not just an AI bot churning out 2,000 hits and hoping one of them takes off. It's going to be a human performer with human talent performing in front of humans. So if anything, all this stuff is going to increase the value of humans who have good ideas and artistic talent. And it's going to make a ton of really bad commercials that I'm not going to watch any more than I would the handmade commercials of today.
Well, I mean, the human stuff will stand out, right? Like I'm 100% behind what you're saying, Andy. I feel the same, because give it a year, or maybe a few months' time, you're going to see that everyone's going to get really bored. Not bored, they're going to be so used to seeing AI content. And when they do see something created by a human, where there's so much soul, integrity, and craftsmanship, that's going to stand out. That's going to stand out from all of the flood of the polished cat videos that we see. That's going to be like, oh, and that's got value, and that's stuff you have to pay. And when you put a price tag on something, it's like art, right? You go to a gallery, you're like, oh yeah, you can buy a digital thing online, or there's something about that art, and it's worth hundreds of thousands. And people buy that art because it's a Rembrandt or a Mona Lisa, or it's got value. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. AI is going to create so much slop out there that original art, whether it's film, music, TV, games, whatever, it's going to have such a value on it. And I think that's where it's going.
That's Neil Stephenson's The Diamond Age is basically about, it's not about that, but there's a major aspect of it. If we have 3D printers that can essentially print anything we desire for free, then the vast majority of things that human makes are no longer, they have no value. Their value is $0. It's free. So what happens is the things that are difficult and handmade and require talent and craftsmanship, those are the only things that have any value anymore in the world. And it is a phenomenal time to be an idea person, or a person with vision, talent, taste. It's a good time right now to make memes, but I think everyone's going to discover what the majority of the YouTubers discovered, where you make one Ring doorbell camera cat playing an accordion, and the internet 2 seconds later is going to say, okay, what's next? And you go, oh, a dog. And they're like, no, we did the Ring cameras. What else you got? And that treadmill of just like something new is not something that people with no good ideas can do.
I agree.
People want to be moved by art. That's why they consume
emotional.
It.
Yeah, it's emotional resonance.
Moved by it.
And also, just to answer the thing about provenance, like we reference hip hop, right? But it's a little bit easier to spot a sample, right? Like when Vanilla Ice sampled, dun, 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 that was like, we knew where that came from. Whereas with AI, it's a little bit tricky, because there's like a million components being ripped to collage something what we have. So unless there's metadata being, I know Wacom are doing something. Wacom's got this metadata system where artists can kind of digitally watermark it, embedded it in the file, And then, if anyone wants to use that art, they have to pay a fee. So Wacom are doing a great job in terms of trying to maintain that very early, but they're doing a good job on that. But like in terms of like, how do you track what art's being used? It's going to be literally impossible right now to do that, right?
Yeah. That's where I think the talk is going to a decision or just a debate still over whether you do it on the input or the output. And I think it more seems to be coalescing towards the output, being able to detect whether something looks similar on the output. But
should be tricky though, dude.
Should be the input. It should be the input. There's clear laws, or there's clear laws structured around inputs, and I agree. I think everyone's trying to detect AI and find percentage of influence and pay artists, and it's just that's doomed to fail. But it violates copyright to make a copy of an image and put it into a data set like that. There's such clear case law, and that's where the authors are going after OpenAI. And that's where hopefully stable diffusion or stability AI, that's where everyone kind of attacked, was like, who put the data set together? Because that, if it's not licensed or public domain, the data set, whoever assembled the data set, is the person that violated the copyright. Using it is, that's buying a stolen VHS, right? Like that's not the crime. The crime was making the VHS.
Still can be a crime though if you
if you
knowingly
if
did it. If you stole it.
If you steal it from them, then that's.
And there's why also people are out there making clean models, and there's a number of different notable ones, I guess, from Moon Valley to Firefly to. There's some debate still amongst one or two of those, but and then Google, where you land with YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because anyone that makes YouTube content, sign away their clause in a way, because it says here that anything that you upload YouTube, they own it in a way. So I think they're gonna have to rewrite that, or maybe Google just knows. They're like, yeah, we knew you signed it away.
Luma, right? We actively gave them. We gave them our splats, like that was
there you go.
Service from day one.
Yeah.
Haz, a couple for you in here. One person asked, is the project self-financed then? Is that what people need to do? Just curious for myself.
You mean my game Astroburn?
I think so, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, it is self-financed. Absolutely. No one's going to give me money to make a game about Space Cats referencing Super Nintendo games.
I would.
I mean, great.
Probably not much, but I would. Yeah.
Appreciate you. No, but also the other reason I self-financed it wasn't just so much for that. I wanted to maintain control on how we make products. So yeah, I would say if you want to create something original today and you want to try something, you gotta have some skin in the game. I'm now talking to investors and so on about the company and the slate of games, which is fantastic. But it helps having skin in the game. But also, what I did was I decided to make the game in 12 months. That's because that was my financial runway. Like the most sensible financial runway I had was that I had a bit of money that I had made from my feature films and so on that I had in my little piggy bank. I'm like, okay, this is how much I'm going to have, and this is what I'm going to spend. I'm not going to use any other of my money from my mortgage or whatever. No. I'm going to be sensible. We're adults here. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to make a game in 12 months, which means I'm going to scope for 12 months. I'm not going to try to make a freaking Cyberpunk or Last of Us in 12 months in 2D. No, scope it. So I looked at other games, look at the simple mechanics, right? And I'm like, okay, that can be done in 12 months. Now, scope creep happens all the time. We do play testing. People go, oh, wouldn't it be great to have this bullet? Or wouldn't it be great? You can factor that in there. But knowing how much something costs and scoping for that will go a long way. So that's how we would do it. The other way also could be like, if you are self-financing a demo, then self-finance the demo and then make it very clear how long you spend on it. Don't spend a year making a demo. Do not do that, because it's a waste of your money and you're going to be really disappointed. If you're going to spend a year making something, make sure it's a product that can be sold. The other thing also is market research. Don't go spend money without market researching. Now, I know most artists go, yeah, I'm an artist, man. I'm going to make the thing that I want to make. Yeah, in reality, if you want to keep making art, you got to find a way of commercializing it that way. So see what's working in the market and then bring your spin to it that makes it unique. If your game's like Stardew Valley, very original, but it's also, Clearly, the guy's played Zelda. He's played tons of other games, but he's really made it his own by looking at the market, see what's working. There's a lot of different genres out there. Understand the genres, understand the audience around that genre, and then put your money there. And then also use that information to go and raise more money as well, which is very important.
Amazing business advice there, really, in general.
Yeah.
You know, like finding out what people want and giving it to them is the best business advice that I ever got. And also being careful not to harm yourself through the process, which is something I wish I'd been told some time ago and it got wrong. But you know, you also learn that way too.
You learn,
yeah. Wow, incredible general business and life advice there. I think just be careful, but be bold and be daring and go out. What I love about what you do, Haz, is that you're so connected with the community around it, and I think that is incredibly valuable in terms of a business, being connected to your community and hearing all
100.
the things that they like and don't like.
I mean, look, one example is Astroburn. In fact, anyone that's been following Astroburn will see it's evolved massively over time, right? So, like on one moment, I had a red spaceship. I had a pure bullet hell R-Type meets Axley, Gradius, Darius. I see Andy smiling; he knows the games, and that was hardcore bullet hell. And then I started testing it, and I noticed it's a lot of older guys that seem to like my game, but what about the Gen Zs? What about those guys? And then I started putting a cat in there, and I started codifying it, putting more colors, and all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of like today's generation, females, males, whatever, just coming up and playing the game. I'm like, huh. And then I'm like, what if I codify the whole thing? And looked at Japanese obscure games like Parodius and Twin B and really queued them up as opposed to shoot them up. And I announced that this week, and I've had amazing response. And I would never have pivoted the game midway of production to go more cue them up than shoot them up if it wasn't for the feedback I was getting from my community and I wasn't listening. That a lot of artists will be like, yes, my game, screw them, we'll release it and fine. I'm like, no, I want to make a game knowing that someone's going to play it, or at least a whole load of people are going to play it, right? This is why publishers always ask, what's your wish list, which is the number of people wish list your game on Steam. They ask that not because they want to make sure that you've got a big wish list, but they want to make sure that you are also talking community. So community is a big thing, and that's not just in games. That's in film. That's in any content you make, music,
Everything. Business
community
in general.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're making they are your consumers. So you got to be there for them. It's good old customer service, right? So yeah.
The minute you stop listening to them is the minute things start going wrong. Generally,
100%. Yeah.
Being an artist is an interesting one because sometimes you, as an artist, you don't want to consider what people are thinking about, the kind of Rick Rubin type philosophy where the audience comes last.
Yeah.
But when you're making commercial art, you really do have to consider what they're telling you and wanting. And the number of people that with the happy accident happen to be extremely successful artist is very small compared to the number of people making things. But it's still really important for people to express themselves and want to do that. It's just, in my life, I've been a commercial artist and an artist, and I got fed a lot more when I did it through the commercial space and did it in that kind of way. It's very important to consider what kind of thing you're doing and why, and therefore what's your outcome. Are you doing it just to enjoy it, or are you doing it, as you said, because you're clear that you want to have it played by a lot of people? In that case,
I want to make more games as well. I want to keep doing
this.
This.
You want to make it sustainable, right? Yeah. Another question from the audience: how best can I drive interest in a game demo that isn't fully functional yet? I haven't started shopping this around for full production yet. What's my best next step? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what we were saying. Like when I did Astroburn, I had a bunch of placeholder assets in there. Very, very rough. I didn't put it online because I knew it's going to get battered to pieces. Regardless if you put work in progress, people are going to batter it to pieces. But I went to a lot of game events and I had my laptop on, lifted it up, said, hey, listen, I'm working on the game. It's very rough. Do you want to have a quick play? Let me know what you think. Give them the controller. They play it. They go, oh, yeah, okay. I go on the rough thing. Yeah, this could work. Oh, I don't really like that. I'm not really vibing this. And I went back and changed it. So it's a really good way to start getting your game right. The other thing also is do your Steam page. Even if you just got the game concept, put up a Steam page, get it going. Now, you're going to hear mixed version of this. Some people are going to say, don't put a Steam page until you have a game ready. Publishers hate that. If you're an indie developer that's most likely going to self-publish, then have your Steam page, because your Steam page is not just a platform to buy the game. It is now a social platform. It also relies on algorithms as well. It's all automated in the background, like YouTube. The more stuff you feed it, the more engagement there is, the more people are going to look at your game and hit that wishlist button or follow it or play the early access. So that's what you have to do. And the idea of shopping your game around, like, respectfully, those days are a little bit over. No one really shops their games around. There's just too many games, right? So you got to create traction on your own. Then you go out to a publisher and say, listen, I've been making this game for about a year or whatever, or a few months, whatever, however it takes you. I've built a community. People want this game. I need your help now to get it to the finishing line, to get it on game consoles. Here you go. Don't go there with a pitch deck. Goes, oh, I've got this amazing pitch deck idea. I've got this great idea. Can you give me some money to make a prototype? Yeah, granted, back in the day, that's how games were done. You get development funding. Those days are gone. Sorry. Unless you're Hideo Kojima or someone, they're not going to give you money to like make a demo. Period. So it's a lot of stuff you have to do on your own.
I would distill what you just said down to think like a YouTuber, build 100%. Build a channel, right? But yeah. Like, and the game is your content. That's your, that's your channel.
100%.
Very important stuff. I think when you're embarking on any venture, you're putting a lot of something into it. You're putting a lot of either money or time or both, and being clear about where it is that you're going is really, really important. Why you're doing it, what you're doing, being clear around that stuff. I think it is. There's so many nuggets from today around that. I really appreciate you both, and Haz, for coming in and
of course, pleasure.
Sharing all of your wisdom. So you've learned so much on the road, by doing, which is the only way to learn.
And failing. I failed tons. I'm not like a complete success story. I've had to fail, but fail fast. That's the advice I say. Fail fast within a couple of hours or a day. Don't fail within a year, because that's going to cost you.
Right. And be willing, like you said earlier, willing to change. I think that's something else where you can be very stubbornly holding on to something for too long. And I've certainly done that myself.
Same. I mean, I was that guy too. Yeah, I get it.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to hang out. Look forward to the next one already.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Andy, as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
And we will.
No thanks. No thanks to the fine internet of Paso Robles.
No thanks to the internet company.
You made it. You turned up, Andy. That's all that matters. You turned up. Okay.
It was dicey.
Well, now you can get back to the chickens, and we've had a great show today. Thank you guys. Really appreciate your time. If you enjoyed today and you're out there, you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, let us know what you thought. We're still building the show. It's episode 6. We want to hear what you think about it, what you'd like to have more or less of. And we also have a newsletter, so you can sign up for announcements for the future shows, which we do each week. We have the podcast, we have this show. We also do classes at CG Pro. So if you're interested in our AI class coming up, we're doing a cracking one right now, which is just going so well. Everyone's creating and being really creative, and it's super fun to witness that. Come and join us on our next webinar, which we have coming up soon. That's free. You'll learn something and meet people and be in community. So it's been a pleasure being with you all today. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Andy, don't turn your browser off just yet. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you all have a great time out there, spend time with family, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Take care.